Okay, hi, this is Will, and we're going to show how to do the Ethernet interface. We had just done the serial interface, so now we're going to do Ethernet. And I'm actually going to reinstall the CLICK PLC software. So let me just get this going. And we want to install the software and just let it go with all the defaults. But there is a quirky little thing that I've noticed, and it's a one-time deal when you first install the software. So you'll only have to go through it when you're first installing the software, like I am now, and accept the agreements. And it has to do with the way the CLICK PLC defines the subnet mask for the PLC versus what your computer would normally define the subnet mask as. And it really operationally makes no difference, but it'll just put you into this screen that you just have to go through it one time. So let's see, our software is going in here, and in the meantime, while I'm looking to make sure that this is going to work correctly, so it's installed. So let's take a look at our screen and see what we have up here, see if we have two icons or what. So I suppose that's our new software. So I'm going to go into click in it, and this should be the same software that was on there before. So I'm going to open an existing project, and I still have my startup program that I want to open. And hopefully this is going to do what I want it to do. And this we had changed a little bit, so I'm just going to delete some things and get it back to what our normal startup would look like. And I'll delete that one and delete this one. And our green lamp is just going to be when we're in start process. So I delete that. Okay, so that had to do with timers, and you get to see that video. But let me just first show what we have. We still need an adapter for that. Is our adapter, and that my computer is USB, so I have to have a USB to Ethernet protocol adapter. And I think you can pick those up at Amazon for well, no more than 15 bucks. So here's our program. What we're going to do is we're going to connect to the PLC, and our PLC is turned on, as you can see. Now, because we had been in the USB, well, I don't know, I think it defaults to this USB setup. We don't want that. We want to go into our Ethernet. So Ethernet. Now, this is going into, okay, so right now it's going into the first time through, and it's just picking up my virtual adapter for, now this is I have a virtual machine on here. That's not what I want. I want this 99. And, well, actually that did say it connected up. So I'm not sure that this is going to do what I wanted it to do. So let's just take a look a little further. We're going to read it into the PLC. Oh, and let me go back to this connect screen. Let me disconnect and reconnect. What we have here when we connect up, this is my PC's address, and you can see it has a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. This is the PLC address, and by default it's always 192.168.0.10. But look at the default mask, or the subnet mask, it's 255.255.0.0, and because mine is 255.0, it creates this little mismatch. And hopefully after we connect here and we don't read it into the PLC, we'll see that mismatch. And again, this is just something that happens one time when you first try to write something into the PLC. And let's see if this does. Well, this doesn't really do it. Sometimes because of this mismatch, it'll come up with a screen that says, which one of these IP addresses do you want to use? And if you click one, it'll say, do you want to update the configuration in the PLC? You don't really want to do that. There's two options there. One of the options you get will come up with this purple screen that you usually see. And that's the option that you want to select. And after you select it that first time, you again don't have to reselect it. And somehow that must be stored in my machine because I didn't do that. So reloading the software really didn't make any difference. Just be aware of that when you do that. So last time we looked at the serial interface, and the serial interface was just as easy as this interface. So with regards to which one should you use, actually I think if you want to use serial, by all means use it. But it's still the Ethernet, if you have the resources, it's always best to show them how both works. At some point they are going to have to know how Ethernet works. I mean, that's kind of why we use Ethernet. And the same is true if you have resources. There's no reason not to, if you are going to have the Wonka machine, is to have 4 sensors, and you can always just run it off a single sensor if you want. So again, depending on what your situation is, the more they know, the better it'll be. So that is how you set up the Ethernet. The Ethernet's really simple. I wanted to take a look, one more thing now that we have our Ethernet set up. If we can look at, I'm going to, just like we looked at the PLC, what we had for that before, if we can look at here, and I guess I'll have to shadow it again, but you can kind of see how where our Ethernet cable is going in, we have like amber light down there, and that just is for our link is connected. But above that there's a flashing green LED, and that means that actual data is being transmitted back and forth. So just like we saw the transmit and receive for the serial interface, we see just data transferring back and forth for the Ethernet. And that's a good indication that things are working correctly. You know, of course, better indication is if you get it to work when you press the buttons. That's always a great indication. So anyway, that's it for the Ethernet interface, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.